Hi guys, what's up? It's Jeff here, coming at you with another Lincoln-Douglas debate video. So first thing that I want to talk about, I want to thank you guys so much for the support in these videos. I really appreciate you guys coming out and supporting the channel. You have no idea how much this means to me. So this video is coming at the request of Dylan. So he puts in the comments, sorry, I'm going to assume your gender. You didn't put down any preferred pronouns, so I'm going to have to assume here. So I'm sorry if this triggers you, but he asks about two things. One of them was the topic analysis and potential case writing tips on this topic, which is coming out a little later. I'm still working on it. I'm trying to make it as high quality as possible for you guys. So be a little patient. It's coming soon. All right, but the second thing is what I'm going to cover now since I have some time to cover it, which is how to connect the value and value criterion from start to finish. So I took this opportunity to launch a new series on LD, which is LD for Dummies, even though I know you're not dumb, but I couldn't come up with a better name, so shoot me, I'm sorry. All right, so the first thing we need to talk about before we get into value criterions is the importance of the word ought. So let's get into that right now. So first thing you have to differentiate is ought versus should. So should means that a proper or optimal course of action. That's what it's referencing to, like what the proper or most optimal course of action is to take. So with that, the only burden by either side is proving either convention, where this is what is done most often, or most carable cap outcome, doing this will cause the most favorable effects, right? So it's morally neutral as well. So morality doesn't play a part in a should debate. There's no question of should we even be talking about this? Is this debate important? It's more what should we do? What is to be done? What would be the best way to do this? All right, so if you've seen a public forum debate, you know what I'm talking about when I talk about should. Ought's different though. It says it means significantly. It's to signify action one is bound to take. So there's no in or out or optimal or proper clause. It's more of what is someone supposed to do. What do you have to do? And like in the ought debate, the burden on either side is like what must be done, not just this is what is done most often, this will give you the best outcome. What do you have to do? And because of that, it's really morally charged. So morality plays a large role in an ought debate. And because morality is ambiguous, so the playing field has to be determined. So in the ought debate, this means that the first thing that needs to be established by either side is the moral platform on which the debate takes place on and why. The reason for this is because, like I said, morality is morally ambiguous and it's subjective. So in order to make sure that you guys are playing the same sport, you have to decide what sport you guys are going to be playing. And to use an analogy, another analogy like how ought would work and versus should is like saying to a group of people, let's all play basketball. So since it's a game with predetermined rules and objectives, the focus is on who scores the most points for their team and wins the game. An ought debate is more like saying, let's go play a game to a group of people. So the first question that arises is, what game should we play? And this is where value and criterion really come into play. And here's the crux on where you start with your value criterion. So now we're going to get into value criterion now. So the value is what is going to be the condition you wish to reach or the objective of the debate here. And the criterion is what conditions must be met in order to achieve that objective. So, for example, in football, the value would be a touchdown because the objective is to score touchdowns, while the criterion would be the end zone because you only know you scored a touchdown if you enter the end zone. All right, for those who don't, the sports references don't click, here's another one to make it easier for you guys. So let's say you're playing Monopoly and you want to become as wealthy as possible in the game. The value would be wealth since the objective is to obtain as much of it as possible, right? And as well, for those the sports references don't click, The criterion would be money and assets because you know you have more wealth if A, you attain more money, or B, you attain more assets. So so for those to understand the connection between the value criterion and how to understand what it is and how it works. So let's go through an example. So let's talk about Billy right here. So let's say you have a group of people who want to play a game. So let's say Billy wants to suggest playing a board game. The next thing Billy must do to convince the others is why a board game is a good idea. So this is where you want to talk about a value and value criterion. The first thing Billy needs to do is think about what is a value as an advantage of playing a board game. So a board game, the first thing that comes to me is that a board game doesn't require physical prowess for the members of the group to enjoy compared to a contact sport like football. So now the only thing that's needed is a way to measure fairness. All right, so something to note here about values. Values tend to be pretty abstract, especially in LD, so it may require a little thought to conclude on what your value criterion should be. So here are things to know about picking a value criterion. The first thing is that a value can have multiple potential criterions that work with your case. So don't focus or worry about picking the quote-unquote right one, because there really doesn't exist a right one. It's just one that works or one you come up with. The second thing is that while the value criterion are usually on the top of the case and are usually the very first things you say, this should be one of the very last things you write, since it's required to be tailored to the arguments you're going to make and the cards you're going to read. So the value criterion are like clothes. You buy them after you try them on, not before you try them on. So let's go back to the scenario with Billy. All right, so to save time, I'm just going to pick a value criterion that I personally like to use. So if the value would be fairness, the value criterion I'm going to use is equality of opportunity. So what equality of opportunity means is that if everyone has an equal opportunity to succeed, then that would let you know that it's fair. I know in like the real world context, that's not necessarily true, but just for this like little scenario, it makes it easier to keep it streamlined here. So now that we know that know what our value criterion is, now we need to know where we're going to put it here. So typically when you're writing your case, you're going to put it right after the link, the relationship to the value criterion. So if you don't know any of these words on the screen, the tag, the warrant, the card, the link, what those things are, the parts of the contention, that's going to be coming on another video later on how to write a case. But for now, just ignore them now and know that at the end of your contention or the end of your cards, you're going to be using the relationship here. All right. So let's go into an example of what Billy would use. So his tag would be on the lines of lack of physicality. So ignore the middle part right there. So at the end, when he tries to relate it to his value criterion, his value of fairness and his criterion of equality of opportunity, he would say something along the lines of, because physical prowess is a non-factor in board game, this gives everyone an equal opportunity to succeed, making a board game the more fair solution than any other like sort of game to be played. All right, so guys, that's it for the video. Thank you guys for sticking through it. Hope this answers your questions, Dylan. This is supposed to be a quick video, but it kind of turned into a 1100 word script. So drop a like and comment, guys, below. It really helps out the channel. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and Jeff out.